Let me now review some scripting terminology that you'll encounter in the Director documentation or any other scripting resource that you'll need to access to learn more fully how to script in Director. My intention in this short section of this tutorial is just to provide an orientation to scripting in Director. For a more complete treatment, be sure to view the movies in my VTC tutorial covering Director's Lingo scripting language. Now in Director 11 you can use either Lingo or standard JavaScript to increase the capabilities of your Director projects. Both Lingo and the JavaScript syntax use some terms that are specific to each language, in addition to some terms that are shared between each language. So let me review some of the more important of these terms in the next several movies. Important scripting terms are listed in alphabetical order in the Help section, Director Help. If you go to the Director Scripting reference, you'll find a lot of these terms. You'll find more complete definitions as well as examples of the terms that I'm going to introduce quickly here in this movie. So you want to reference this resource before moving forward with your Director Scripting. Let me start my definition of terminology with constants. Constants are elements whose values do not change. For example, in Lingo, constants such as tab, empty, and return always have the same values and cannot be modified. In JavaScript syntax, constants such as math.pi and number.max_value also have the same values and cannot be modified. You can also create your own custom constants in JavaScript syntax by using the keyword const or const dot. Next we have events. Events are actions that occur while a movie is playing. Events occur when a movie stops, when a sprite has been clicked on, for example a button, or when the playhead enters a frame. Events can also include when the user types at the keyboard. All events in Director are predefined and always have the same meaning. You can see an example, in fact a number of examples of events here in some of my sample scripts. Here's one on mouse up, so when the mouse is clicked and then released on that particular sprite, that triggers an event. On drag sprite is another event right here. On mdrag sprite, so you'll see these commonly, they'll say on mouse down, on mouse up, on key click, and so on. Now you shouldn't confuse events with functions. Functions refer to either top-level functions or specific types of JavaScript syntax code. A top-level function instructs a movie to do something while the movie is playing or returns a value, but it's not called for any specific object. For example, you would call the top-level list function by using the syntax list open close parentheses. Like a function, a method also instructs a movie to do something while the movie is playing or returns a value, but it's always called from an object. So there's some overlap in terms of conceptually understanding these different terms, but you can see that these are functions here. That's a function that says on mdrag active do the following. So what you'll do is you'll then use the mdrag vActive function, call that out, and then Director will know to perform these lines of script. There's another function here. In fact, this script has quite a number of functions. On prepare frame me, actually that's an event, and you'll know that it's an event because notice it's in green and the functions are in black. So that's a reserved term on prepare frame. Notice the on mouse down is also an event. It's in green. On mouse up, those are reserved words, in other words, whereas these are self-defined or programmer-defined functions. There's a list of instructions to do, and then to call those instructions you just use the function name right there. This is a good opportunity for me to introduce the term handlers or event handlers. These are sets of statements within a script that run in response to a specific event and subsequent message. When an event occurs, Director generates and sends a corresponding message to scripts, and a corresponding handler runs in response to the message. The names of handlers are always the same as the events and messages they respond to. For example, here in this script, the on prepare me is an event handler. Here on the mouse down me is also an event handler. In other words, what should I do when the mouse is pressed down? In this case, you're setting the property mDrag to true right there. Another term that I should define now are keywords. Keywords are reserved words that have special meaning in Director. For example, in Lingo, the keyword on and mouse down, as well as on prepare frame, have specific meanings, and you cannot use those words in your scripts. For example, you can't use them for variables or for function names. You shouldn't even use them as frame labels. Let me now move on to the next movie and review some additional terms, including lists, messages, methods, operators, and parameters.